How's it going, everybody? Thanks for joining us. We got a very special guest here today, my buddy Reckless Rick. He is a world
Hey,
traveler and he is a reckless rollerblader. So we are happy to have
that's
you on, my
me.
friend.
That's me. How we doing out there, guys? Good to see you. Thanks for having me on, Troy.
How you doing, man? How's things?
I'm doing great, dude. I'm out here in Tenerife. It's an island off the coast of Morocco. It's owned by Spain, if your audience doesn't know that. And playing roller
Nice.
hockey out here, man. Playing roller hockey and just living a good life out here. So I'm really enjoying it.
That's incredible. Well, I wanted to
Yeah.
have you on, man, because you are a go-getter and all the stuff you post on your social media is just incredible to see, man. You're changing the world one day at a time, and we'd love to hear from you.
But I'm happy that we're still connected on Instagram and keeping us together,
Yeah.
man.
And at the end of
Yeah.
the day, you're a good friend of mine. So that's the other
Yeah.
reason.
For sure,
Yeah.
man. Good times, a
So
good memory.
for those of you listening, me and Eric, we met in California on Venice Beach. And it was pretty much a movie in terms of our first few hours together. So
Hmm.
I do want to get into that because people deserve to know that story. And then I want to hear about your current career and what you're getting into.
Yeah. Cool.
So
So,
you were born in San Diego, right?
yeah, born in San Diego, uh, until I was like 8 or 9 years old, and then moved out to Virginia for a bit, and then
Yep.
made my way back to San Diego after my dad lost his job. We went back. So
Nice, nice.
yeah.
And how much of your time have you spent in California? You went to high school out there, right?
Yeah, so I went to high school. I went to high school in Virginia for the first year, and then the
Yeah.
last 3 years of high school, I transferred back and went to San Diego. Finished high school out there, and then
Nice.
I stayed in San Diego playing junior hockey for like the first 2 years there, and
Yeah.
for the San Diego Gulls, the junior A tier three, I think it is, and so that was like a nice ice hockey experience for me. And then from there, I went to college hockey, D3
Nice.
NCAA at St. Mary's, Minnesota. I don't
That's
know if you know
awesome.
Minnesota.
Yep.
Yeah, but then it was a good time, but it was like a private college, not many kids. Didn't get the whole college experience, and then I visited my friend in Iowa State, and from there I was like, wow, this is like what I see in the movies. This is the American college experience. So I transferred to Iowa State my sophomore year, and I played college club hockey for the 3 years of the next 3 years I was in college.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. And being a SoCal guy, like hockey is not there's no NHL team over there. Where did the love from hockey start? Tell us about
Yeah,
that.
I guess it was you got to credit my dad. He was just fanatical about hockey. He was when I started walking. I kid you not. There's like videos and stuff. He put the skates on and then just dragged me around the garage with the skates on my feet. I don't know. He must have had these really tiny skates to fit, and so every day he's just in the garage skating with me. And then soon he put a hockey stick in my hand. So essentially, when I started walking, I was skating. So it just became so natural to me. My dad started playing as a kid in the streets, and it was common for like his neighborhood kids to play street hockey. So he started just playing street hockey, and then from there he started playing ice hockey, and so he was a big part of the Southern California like roller hockey movement when it started really getting big. They called it quad hockey, like the quad skates, the two and
Yeah.
two. Yeah,
Yep.
so he was a big quad hockey guy. He was like one of those
Wow.
guys, yeah, going crazy in the quads, and so he was a huge part of
So
that.
like
Yeah,
that's like the old time roller skaters that would go to
yeah,
those
that's an
like
old time roller. That's how it used to be played. Inline hockey didn't
wow.
really get popular until like the 90s. The 90s was a
Wow.
huge boom in inline hockey. But before that, it was hockey was played on the quad skates from like 60s, 70s, and 80s. When the people talked about roller hockey, it was on quads. And so
Yeah.
inline
That's
hockey
incredible.
didn't really get big until the 90s. So it's
Yeah.
yeah, super new sport.
And I follow you. I see a lot of your posts and all that stuff. And I know of a little thing you guys like to call the street ducks.
Street ducks, quack quack.
So shout out.
Yeah.
And now, who is that group comprised of? Is that your friends? Is that people? Tell me about that.
No, well, it just yeah. I mean, it started out with just me and my brother, and then to become this bigger community thing that we made it into. So it just kind of started out with my brother and I skating the streets in San Diego at night. We just when we're bored at night, instead of watch TV, we'd go out and like hey, let's just skate around and without hockey stick, let's just gets a 40 ounce of beer, and we just skate the streets of San Diego. And we're like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like, let's just keep doing this. And we invited one or two friends the next night, and then one or two friends the next night, and then we had that like this 6 person unit. And then we had my brother was getting this is when social media started getting big in Instagram, and he's like, let's start videotaping ourselves. And he had the idea to create this Street Ducks account. And next thing you know, people from all over like America were sending us videos of their gang street ducking, and then you have people from eventually like in Australia and
Wow.
Toronto and stuff doing the same thing. So I was like, oh, this is cool because street ducks, if people didn't know, is like a it's a name from the Mighty Ducks movies. When they would
Yeah.
in their downtime from the ice hockey, they would go out and skate the street. So obviously it was based off that, and so we wanted to kind of carry it on, and yeah, so we've been
That is
enjoying it. It's still going.
incredible.
It's
You
still
guys
active. Yeah,
started a movement, man, and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
great to see. It's great
So
to
it's
see,
it's
man.
it's cool. Something so simple. I like the fact that something so simple yet so fun, and it brings people together. So it's a cool thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then
Yeah,
you go off to college in Minnesota, and it's obviously a lot different than San Diego. It's freaking freezing up there. How
yeah,
was
yeah. It
that
was
transition and experience?
yeah, it was quite cold out there. It was snowing 3 months, 4 months of the year at least. But I enjoyed it. You get the frozen ponds out there, play pond hockey. I mean, all hockey guys love the skating on the pond. I think it's the best form of hockey, really. Like, so I love that part. So yeah, definitely the snow took me quite a few months to get used to it. So coming from San Diego, when it's same weather all the time, but I enjoyed it a lot. It was a good hockey experience, and Minnesota, some really nice people there, really really good people. Same with Iowa, that whole
Yeah,
region. The whole region in America is some of the nicest people in the country. So yeah, it was a
that's
good time.
incredible. That's awesome.
Yeah,
And now we're getting
yeah,
closer to kind of where you are now and where you've been recently. So I know
yeah,
you love to travel. You love traveling. Let's be honest.
yeah,
Where
yeah.
does
I
that
do.
love come from? And how have you found out how to travel doing something you love and also maintain your hockey love?
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't know where my love from traveling comes from. I guess it was just yeah. I don't know. I've always been an adventurous guy, and once I was grew up and moved out of my parents' house, I realized, oh, I have the freedom. I'm not under my parents' restrictions anymore. I can go out and do the things I want. And I was like, well, where can I go? And just started thinking all the different places around me that are cool. And uh, on top of that, I started thinking, how can I go to these places to work here and enjoy these different places? And I started thinking of that, like, where is hockey available? Where can I go play hockey or coach hockey in a cool place? So, and you just research, and luckily, I built up some connections in the hockey community, and one thing led to the next, and it's taken me to where I said Minnesota, but that was college. But did taken to Namibia, Tenerife, and stuff like that. So I was able to go to different places around the world to do something I love.
Incredible.
Thanks to the hockey community, like just staying connected with guys. Obviously, my older brother too. He knows people. Helps me get a tryout in Spain to play in Mallorca. And one thing, the butterfly effect. One thing let's lead to the next. I just kept on going on the wave, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to just return home and then do some standard job, even though I very well could have, because I took a major in criminal justice. I could have went home and started the police academy or whatever. But I was like,
Yep.
well, I don't think I want to do that right now, and I still don't want to do it. So I'm still riding the inline hockey wave, and I
I
still
love
love
it.
traveling. I even love it more now, just like being not necessarily traveling like constantly anymore, but I like going to new places, being there for at least a few months, or in my case right now, over a year, and so I get acquainted with the culture, you know. So I think it's more of a valuable experience that way, and
Yeah.
get to ride it out as long as I can, man. I mean, I
I
love it
love it,
more and more
man.
every day, being outside my comfort zone.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I love that you chase that feeling, being outside of your comfort zone and making it happen, like I said.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
saw a bunch of videos of you working with the youth in Namibia, and how important is that to you, changing the world? Like, tell me a little bit about where that stands.
Yeah, I mean, so I initially went there just to coach a hockey team there, and it's a great place, but I realized like, hey, like we need to get more. more blacks involved in the hockey as well, because I was in Namibia and it wasn't very diverse. And I was like, well, let's try to go out and let's see what happens. And I was talking to the guy who brought me there, Dave Hammond. Like he's pretty well connected with the community there, and he's like, you can go to these places and this to help grow hockey to other kind of other culture, other more disadvantaged people there. And so yeah, I started going up north Namibia where it's not a lot of stuff going on out there, and started training these kids. And then I was like, wow, like yeah, I just saw right away, and like it made me realize how many other kids are out there that can play inline hockey but are not able to. And these
Wow.
kids learned it so quick, it was amazing, and their passion for it was pretty incredible. So and all they had was a stick and skates, like no equipment. Some of them had maybe like shit, like elbow pads, maybe and stuff like that. But they had like these little small mini nets that are making it work with way less than what like you see in these modern rinks. So I'm not just like how many other people out there that we could do this to, and that's kind of my thing. I want to promote inline hockey, but at the same time make it accessible. Like find a tennis court, find an open, smooth area where people can play. When you have these modern indoor rinks, all these fancy equipment, you're like, it's nice, but at the same time, you're isolating a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah,
So
totally. And they wouldn't even have known that they were maybe good, or maybe that they would have fun doing it if it wasn't
yeah,
for you. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's an incredible thing to say that you
yeah,
did and are doing. So incredible.
yeah,
And let's talk a little bit about where you are now, man. Like you're in Spain, you're living the dream, dude.
yeah.
What is your day to day look like?
My day to day, and yeah, so day to day. Now I've been waking up pretty early now. I began a program now of waking up at 6:30 a.m. And it's like
Nice.
every month, not every month, but every November, I always have to have some kind of challenge for myself, 30-day challenge. Where I actually did 30-day challenge in LA. Remember that? That's how I actually met you, man. The challenge,
Yeah,
but
a little
the
bit of
30,
foreshadowing right there.
yeah, yeah. 30 days in November. Usually I like to do something that like I have to do it every day or not do something every day. And so I try to come up with a different challenge every time. And this one I was like, well, I always sleep in. I'm kind of sometimes I'll wake up at 10 or 11. I'm like, what if I just wake up at least before 8 a.m. every day? So the first 15 days before 8 a.m. I'm up. And then now I'm like, okay, this is a little too easy. Let's go before the sunrise. So now it's 6:30. I'm up every day, and now I really like it a lot. Like just yeah, starting the day, sun's coming up, and I feel like I'm getting a lot more stuff done. So I wake up, and what I do, I'm doing typical day would be I go for usually a trail run. There's a lot of trail runs around here, so I go maybe take my moto to the coast. It's like a 10-minute ride. Go for a coastal run, and then yeah, listen to music there. Come back, do a workout with the team. We work out in the morning sometimes, and from there I go to inline skating classes. I have my own private inline skating classes. Like I
Yeah,
teach kids
that's
on the
awesome.
side, like privately. It's like my own thing here. And then after that, after a few hours, just chilling at the house, and I'll go to practice. And we practice up in 10 minutes up in the mountains here, and nice hard practice. It's good. It's good workout,
That's
and I
great.
come back and chill with the guys, and then you got your calm days too, where you just chill, relax, and a lot of other days where you just adventuring the island. There's so many beautiful places, different beaches, different hikes that I haven't even explored everything yet, and I tend to explore a lot. So yeah,
Nice. That's great, man. So there's obviously a lot of life betterment that you look for. There's a lot of chasing your dreams and happiness. Where
yeah.
does that come from? And how can somebody who's trying to get out of I don't want to call it the rat race, but the the police officer job, somebody that has that itch that you do, what is your advice to them?
My advice is to do it if you have to do it, but don't make it don't make it a long term thing, because at the end of the day, who you are as a person is like when you come home is it going to make you a good person? How is that job going to make you after you get off work? How is it going to affect your well-being? The most important thing is your relationships with other people. If you go home, you hate your job, and then you're in a bad mood all the time, and it's all for nothing, at the end of the day. And also at the same time, if you're not enjoying your job, um, short term, that's fine. and you can save up and then go do whatever. But at the end of the day, I don't want to look back on my life and you spend 1/3 of your time working. So 1/3 of your life is not enjoying it. That's not worth it for me. So for me, it's just like, yeah, thinking like really hard, what do I really want to do? What I really want to do? And yeah, and you got to ask yourself, more money, less enjoyment in the job, or less money, maybe and more enjoyment with the job? That's probably a question people have to ask too. And
Yeah,
for me, it's an easy answer. Like I want to enjoy and maybe not make a whole lot of money, but enjoy my day to day. That's super important to me. And I've always, yeah. But everyone's different. But I think that seems to work for me and work for my brother and a lot of my other close friends that I know. So yeah, man.
that's awesome. Super inspiring, man. Thanks for that answer.
Yeah.
So let's get into what you kind of spoke on a little bit. Your 30-day challenge, which I remember was the polar plunge that you did in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
And yeah, were you living in near Venice Beach at that time? And how did that start? A little bit about the community at Venice Beach.
Yeah. So
Let
Venice
me hear
Beach,
about
yeah,
that.
it's yeah, right. Yeah. If anyone doesn't know, it's right in the beach there, right next to Santa Monica. I lived
What
like
year
three
is this
miles away.
again?
This
This
is
is
this
what
is
year?
2020. So I moved to LA right in March 2020. So actually 2 weeks before the lockdown. And I moved there
Wow.
to start my temporary short-term acting career that I may or may not go back to. So we'll see. And then
I didn't know
yeah,
this.
it's on hold. Yeah, that's why I was there in LA. I went for acting actually.
Really?
So well, I mean, yeah, so if I back step a little bit, I went to an open audition in San Diego, just randomly. I saw it on Facebook. And I was like, oh, you know what? Let's just go to the audition and see what happens. It'd be kind of funny. And then the guy liked me. He's like, yeah, if you want to expand your options and you got to move to LA. And I was like, oh shoot, man. At that point, I was just working security in San Diego. I'm like, you know what? Let's just do it. And I found a place super quickly in Mar Vista, which is like 3 miles from Venice Beach. So as long as it's skating distance to the coast, I'm happy. So every day I would skate from Mar Vista to Venice Beach, and yeah, and then that was just my routine. And then once COVID hit lockdown, then I was like, well, that's all I could do was just skate, 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 skate. So I just made a routine every day, just skating the boardwalk, and meeting whoever was down there. And so it is a cool community, like so many different people in Venice Beach. You can see every type of person, in the world there at Venice Beach. So it's really awesome for people watching and yeah, and we skate all the way down to Santa Monica. And as you know, I met a cool guy named Ben, and we kind of teamed up every day. He was on his bike, I was on my skates, and it was just such a cool thing. And I noticed he loved going jumping in the water. I'm like, oh, you almost going every day? And he's like, yeah, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, well, let's just, how about I just join you in the ocean every day? And then we started doing it every day. Then I was like, oh, let's just, keep it going every day. But at the same time, let's get someone to join us every day. It just kind of came naturally from that. And so it was by November this time. And then that's what made it fun. Like, oh, it's actually a challenge now because the water's getting colder. If people don't know the Pacific Ocean, it's not as warm as what people think. It's sometimes below 60 degrees Fahrenheit, sometimes 56, 57. So, a lot of these Californians are super in their comfort zones. They don't want to go in that water in the wintertime.
Yeah.
So every day we had a routine. We get there maybe an hour before sunset or whatever, 45 minutes before sunset. We had a certain spot in Santa Monica and we go just walk the beach, look for interested parties to join us. One person, 20 people, whoever, I don't know who we get. And we'd ask, he would go one way, I'd go the other way. And we were both in our boxers. We didn't bring swimsuits. So we just run around in our boxers looking for people to join us. And then you'd get people that you would not think that would join you. And you would say, people would say no, that you would think they would join you. So you never know what to expect. But every day, at least, I can't remember, but it was at least 30 days that someone joined us, a different person joined us in the water, a different stranger that we didn't know. And
Wow.
and then basically once the sets down, we just we start running into the ocean, and we start screaming, "Ah!" Just dive into the ocean. And the whole thing was documented. The whole thing was it's on YouTube. So 30 days cold water challenge with strangers, and the icon of the video is actually you and me and Ben, I believe. So
Wow.
that's where you come into play there. I met you right at Venice Beach there. You were
Yeah,
uh,
I
you
I
were work you were working out. Yeah, you were working out, and you came up to me, right? And
I came
you're
up
like,
to you. I guess this is where I got to take over.
yeah,
So he's
yeah,
telling this story right now in the 30-day polar plunge that he did right before. I mean, that was during COVID, actually. So this is kind of where I come into play and got to tell a little story here.
yeah.
So LA, for some reason, is always something that has been pulling me. I have never been there before I met you. That was the first day I was ever in LA.
Yeah.
And I went by myself. It was snowing, cold. December. It was December, I believe, right?
When I met
Um,
you, yeah,
I
it
think
was December. It was December. It was December. Yeah, it was for sure December.
I'm laying in my bed and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning in a random night in December. I couldn't give you the date, but it was before I met you. And I was like, nothing's happening in the world right now. This is one of the most interesting times in history that I've been a part of, where literally the world is dead. There's no work to go to. There's no school. There's nothing. And I'm like, I've always wanted to go to LA, but I don't have anybody to go with me. So I'm just going to look at flights. I find a $65 round trip ticket from Buffalo to Los Angeles. I go,
Yeah,
I'm getting on the flight. I think it was in 2 days from the point I booked it. So I booked it, told my dad I'm going. I got on a plane and that it was just pulling me. I wanted to go see it. I went by myself. I recommend
solo
everybody go
travel.
travel by themselves at some
Yeah,
point. It is
yeah.
if you go with a big party, people want to do this, want to do that. When you
You
go by
have way more
yourself,
freedom by yourself. Yeah.
you got way more freedom. So I did it, man. I did it. And I
Solo
get
travel.
there. I get to Venice Beach. It was my first night. So I got there late at night the night before that, stayed the night, and then had a little Airbnb on Venice Beach. It was incredible. It was like a dream 3 days for me. And I go and I'm like, I gotta go see Muscle Beach. This is one of the first things I did.
Muscle Beach, Arnold
And
Schwarzenegger. Yeah.
Arnold
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger, baby. So I go and I
Yeah.
check it out and I'll get a little workout in. So then I see my buddy Eric, and he knows I'm looking at him, but he's like, why is this kid looking at me? So I walk up
Yeah.
to him and I'm actually a hockey player myself. I'm from Buffalo, New York. And this is also where Benji's going to come into play for people
Yeah.
listening. I walk up to him and I'm like, hey, man, you look like Chucky Slick. Like, this is something's up here. Because I used to listen to your brother's music back in my hockey days. And I followed him and all that stuff. So you guys look so similar. I walked up to you. I was like, I recognize you, man. How is that? He's like, oh, that's my brother. So we just hit it off
Yeah.
and you took me around. We played a little bit of tech ball with the foot. It's like a foot ping pong
Yeah.
for those of you
Football.
listening.
Yeah, hitting the ball with your foot over the. It's like ping pong with feet. So yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a day in Venice Beach, man. And it was the drum circle we also went to.
Yeah, that same day it was
Remember
a
that?
drum circle. Drum circle every
Yep.
Sunday in Venice Beach. They do a nice hippie drum circle. We just run around and scream like animals and do whatever we want. And
It's the
yeah,
best time. And then
yeah.
I think that was before or after we did the polar plunge.
Uh, a little bit of both, I think, because we were going back and forth. I think, and I think we did went to the circle. Then like, oh, we got to go to the ocean now. Sun's setting, so we ran to our in Venice Beach. This is actually one of the few times we did the polar plunge at Venice Beach instead of Santa Monica. So we ran just a couple yards over from the drum circle. Got whoever we got there to run in the ocean.
Yep. And then this is about the same time I met your friend Benji that you've been hanging out with for a while at that point.
Yeah,
Benji
yeah,
looks at me and he asks me where I'm from, and I say Buffalo, New York. He goes, no way, I'm from Buffalo too.
yeah, oh, yeah, yeah,
So what I mean by this is shaping up to sound like a movie. This is just small world at its finest. We
yeah,
got three guys right now that are super similar in many ways, but also come
yeah,
from many different backgrounds.
yeah,
And we hit it off. So we do the polar plunge. It was a lot colder than I ever thought it would be.
yeah,
But that was my
yeah.
first dip in the Pacific.
Yeah,
And
I don't, yeah, I don't know if you remember when we went in the ocean with you, that guy from the drum circle, kind of the older guy, he was butt ass naked. He jumped in
yes,
before us. He went on his own, and in the video, we were running past him, and I think one of us even like gives him a tap on the back or something like that. He's butt ass naked on YouTube. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, dude, that is true. And we're gonna have to find that footage and put it in here because it is priceless. Oh
Yeah.
man. So I met a whole bunch of great people, and you were the some of the one of the most outgoing dudes I've ever met. You made my trip fantastic. And
Mm.
after that, you looked at me and you must have caught a liking to me or something, but you were like, me and Benji, we're going to the mount, we're gonna go to Death Valley and we're gonna watch the meteor shower. And I go, how far is that? And you're like, yeah, it's about 4 or 5 hours. Like,
Yeah.
so I just meet these guys that day
That
and
day.
I hop in the car with them. It was a no-brainer. And we shoot up
That's
to Death Valley.
Death Valley the same night. I was like, I just met you and you decided to go. And that also ties in with Greg too, because we just met Greg as
Yes.
well. So Greg
Yeah.
is
Greg was
with,
a Harvard graduate. So we got
yeah,
four guys that go on this trip. Greg, who's a Harvard graduate. We got Eric, Benji, and myself. Four people who come from way different backgrounds. And we just shot up to Death Valley to watch this unbelievable meteor shower.
yeah,
Now, we're
yeah,
listening to Red Hot Chili Peppers the whole way
yeah,
there.
yeah,
We're having
yeah.
great conversation. And tell me about your outlook on this part of it.
Oh, the meteor shower is cool. I mean, every December and August, I make sure I find a group of friends to try to go see the meteor showers. I mean, never as crazy as what we did. We wouldn't, we would just go somewhere, 30 minutes or so outside of our city to go see the meteor showers. And so it was always a thing for me. The Perseids in August and the Geminis in December. And we went, it was the Geminis. And Geminis is considered the best of the year. So basically, you find a dark space, get out from the city lights, preferably at least an hour outside of city, and you're able to see some shooting stars if you have good conditions. So, and luckily, I think when we went, it was just like somewhat of a smaller moon, so not a whole lot of light pollution. And yeah, and we knew it would be cold, but I think it was maybe a little bit colder than we thought. We went out there and we just hiked through the sand dunes there, that Death Valley sand dunes, until we found a nice little place like on top of a dune, and we get our sleeping bags out and we just start looking up, and you see, like different shooting
How
stars.
many do you
One
think
shooting
we
one
saw?
shooting star every few minutes. I mean, we saw. I would want to say at least 30. Like at least I saw 30 or something like that at least.
I
Um,
must have a kink in my memory, but I could remember at least like 60 to
yeah,
80. I
maybe more,
remember
maybe more. Yeah,
that
maybe
was one of
more.
the craziest spectacles I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And
So it's yeah, it's worth
remember
it
all
if
the
you just time.
laughs?
Yeah, the last we're just cracking jokes, and then yeah, we're there shivering too, and we're trying to crack jokes and keep the humor going because we are cold, so you want to distract
Yeah,
yourself, but
yeah.
that's part of the experience, that's just struggling a
And then
little
that,
bit, and that makes the
yeah,
memory that much better when we're struggling like that, and that's what I always say. The more the struggle, the more the memory, and that's like
yeah,
that's what made that experience for us, like, and just also the strangers there coming together. So I think that was pretty fun.
yeah. Remember the fox that rolled up on us, trying
Oh
smelling
yeah,
our food?
yeah. We're like, what the hell is that? And then you got to bring up our boy Greg. I mean, this. You want to tell that or what?
Yeah, so at this point, it's pretty early. We've only been there for like an hour, and it is freezing cold. Right? But you got to kind of go through that to have an experience like this. It was just like
Yeah,
you're gonna have to work for it a little bit. And our buddy Greg, he went back to the car and spent the night in the car because he couldn't handle it anymore.
yeah,
But me, Benji, Eric, we stayed the entire night all the way until sunrise,
yeah,
and I am so thankful that we did.
yeah.
Oh
I still
man.
got a nice picture on my Instagram. I think of you looking out of the sun rising over the sand dune, and that was just. I
Yes.
was like, that's a great moment. And then yeah, that was awesome. When we slowly get up and like, oh man, maybe hopefully Greg didn't take the car. I remember her joking about that because we don't even know each other. We don't know Greg. Like because he took the keys because he had to sleep in the car and he needed to put the heat on to stay warm. So I was like, hey, maybe he could have stole my Prius if anyone wanted to take that Prius. And we get back, we walk back there, and we just see him. Yeah. He's alive, and he's a
Thanks,
good
Greg, for not taking
guy.
the car and leaving us in the
Yeah.
desert, buddy. Appreciate that.
And so we
Thank
woke
you.
up, and then yeah, it was funny. And then we slowly started driving back. And I remember, I think you got the video of me hitching grabbing onto the Prius, right?
Yes,
On
yes.
the drive back. And
You let me borrow your rollerblades too. I got a shot like that. We're in the middle of the desert and we're holding on to the car and there's nobody in sight. There's probably one truck every 10 minutes. And we're able to hold the back of the car, get footage while we're riding on our rollerblades. It was
yeah,
a
that's
dream,
epic.
man.
Such an epic place for just rollerblading too. Yeah, 'cause if you're in the early morning, you don't got a lot of cars there, so it was in just the vastness of the place, the views. It's an
Yep.
awesome place, man. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it.
And I'm going to
Yeah,
put pictures and videos in so people understand kind of what happened. But to meet
yeah,
somebody like you, man, in that period of time and to still be in
yeah.
touch with you is something I'm very grateful for. So thanks.
Yeah. I'm happy that we stay in touch, and yeah, so it's awesome that you're doing this podcast thing too, man. We're talking about this, so it brings back the memories and it makes me smile looking back on these.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
good.
soon I'm gonna head out to Spain and we're gonna have some fun, man. I'm gonna meet your roommates and we're gonna do something
You
like we
are
did back in
you
the
gonna
day.
come? You gonna come out here,
If you set it up for me and give me all the logistics, we'll make it happen.
dude? I mean, yeah, dude, you we could find a work, make it work. I mean, I have like a little bed in my room, and you could just pass out on the mattress in my room,
Hey, I'm
and you're
I'm not
fine.
I'm
My
not high
girlfriend comes
maintenance.
here. What?
I'm low maintenance.
Yeah, like my girlfriend stayed here a few times already, so if she can stay here and be happy, I'm sure you could. So,
Yeah,
and yeah, then we'll show you around, man. It's a beautiful island. And, yeah,
absolutely, bro. Hey, man. Well, it was great to catch up with you. Thanks for talking a little bit about what you're doing, and I wish you all the best, man. Seriously.
yeah, dude, it's great talking with you in here, and yeah, and if you ever want to, like I said, if you want to come visit, man, it'd be great to see you, and yeah, and to everyone out there, thanks for listening, and hope you guys enjoyed. And
Yep.
I don't know if you want to touch on anything else, but I think it was a
Now
good
this
combo,
won't be
man.
the last interview that we do, man. It was a great
Yeah,
convo.
yeah,
So I
for
appreciate
sure.
it. But if you have one message to the world, what would that be?
One message to the world. Um, I would have to say like my what my godfather said to me before he passed away. He was like, on his last days, and he said, you do everything, do as many things as you can as soon as you can, because you never know when it's too late. In his case, he got like brain cancer all of a sudden, and he passed away pretty suddenly, and he wished like, he could have done more things. But he was true. You never really know when your time's coming. So you don't want to keep waiting and waiting and waiting. Yeah, I'll do it one day. I'll do it one day. Then maybe you're disabled. Maybe you get cancer. Maybe you injure yourself, or you get hit by a freaking bus. You never really know. So the things you want to do, try to figure out how to do them, how to accomplish them when you can, and don't wait for too long. Keep attacking life, man, and enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey along the way.
Thanks,
That's
man.
it. Yeah.
Appreciate
Cheers,
you.
Troy. Yeah.